This conference will now be recorded.
Got to have the touch, Bob.
It's not you, they're very hard. Maybe someone else is
Everybody will say, why was she
It's not being
so,
recorded yet,
why was
so
she
good.
whispering all night? Why was she whispering? Truly.
Are we ready? Is this everybody? Let's do it. Any additions or corrections to the agenda?
No additions or corrections from staff.
I'd like to talk about a couple projects at the end, or towards the end of new business or whatever.
Are we recording?
We are.
Thank you. See, Joan, all that stuff was already recorded.
Echoey in here.
We're probably just so close together.
Because we're so close and there's so many mics, you can probably cut. said, but we tend to lose people if we don't have enough mics too. These would be reports probably, Bob? If Lindsay wanted to put it down.
Anywhere, wherever you want to do it. Just some ideas.
Okay,
Just move it to the new business then?
sure. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's passed. Regular meeting minutes from August 20th. We have the whole,
Short and sweet.
is that all there was?
Missing something.
Are we missing a page?
We got number 6, old business. We didn't have any new business last time?
Or reports, anything about reports or anything?
No, I just have the one page.
I just have
This is
one.
behind, on the back of the agenda.
Oh,
Well, we're missing a page.
Yeah, it's possible we were missing a page.
Yeah, that's what we're missing.
you don't mind?
No, it doesn't. Oh, let me see if he's got them. You missing, Judy?
I am, but I've got it online.
The ones, those should be missing too.
Or, no, are they in a little bit farther?
Page there, but
No,
Yeah, none of
They
these
are,
They are, they're,
they're next page.
yeah, 6B.
You can see
Oh,
7,
that
8,
was
7.
different than you had though, wasn't it?
No, that's the new business.
tonight's.
Yeah, there was a second page. That's the one I printed.
Yeah, it's got budget review, update on couch trucking, it's got new business, the trip to Northfield, it's got the Smith grant,
I have
and then
one
it's
as
got an
well,
update
If anyone would like it.
reports.
I think she's going on her.
I've got it online, so I'm okay, but
yep,
that's
I'll
the
make
second.
it.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion's pass. Monthly financial report and accounts payable. So the money that was done for the trestle bridge repair came out of the Rochester sales tax fund, and that will not come back to EDA, correct?
That's correct, yes. Kim has moved it to another spot. It's through council approval now, I believe.
And that particular fund's been eliminated from this sheet, correct?
That's correct.
I'll make a motion, we approve the August 31st monthly cash sheet.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's passed. No public hearings. Old business, tulip tree marketing.
Yes, so Kurt has provided updates on all these things, so I'm going to be reading most of his notes here. So just heads up on that. So 6A here from example from tulip trees. So we started doing the marketing through tulip tree marketing. And so you can see some examples on the memo there of what they've been working on. They have provided a social media strategy for October. I believe it is in your packet, probably towards the end, I believe, and you can see what the detailed plans are there. So this is just kind of providing an update on where they're at, what they're working on, and you can see their strategy in the back of your packet there.
Staff have any comments, anything, any feedback or feelings about how it might be impacting things?
Not that I'm aware of, but I know that Miranda has the capability of seeing the amount of visits per site. So we can kind of see those numbers in particular. If you'd like, I can have bring those to the next meeting, probably, but as far as I'm aware, I haven't seen any issues, but I think it's working pretty effectively as far as I'm aware, so.
Yeah, and I've seen some of it, but,
I'm curious, last month she said that it hadn't really changed their site visits, so
Mhm.
I don't know now that it's been an additional month, if that's any different.
Yeah, those are numbers I can provide and have Kurt provide at the next meeting for you.
It's probably something that you should just maintain and provide every time we meet, because it's gonna be an ongoing question.
That's correct, right, and you want to see how things affect
Yeah.
throughout time, and you see the numbers, what the
Doesn't make
trends
any
are.
sense. It's kind of hard to do with a billboard, but I think with this, you get some sense of it at least.
Yep, yeah, I'll make a note of that and have those numbers provided going forward.
If there's no more discussion, we'll move on to 6B, which is update on Couch Trucking.
Yes, so House Trucking have fired Witseth as their engineers, and they're hiring a new firm, G Cube, I believe is their firm name, to draw their site plans for the possible acquisition of the 2 EDA lots. Once they get their site plan, they'll make the offer on those lots. They're currently using 550 22nd Street to park extra trailers from Midwest Fabrication usage. But as far as I'm aware, there hasn't been any updates like on the day-to-day basis. Kurt has told me we're just kind of waiting for this to happen, waiting for those site designs before they kind of move ahead, and anticipating an offer once we get those completed plans.
Okay. C, August EDA budget update.
Yes, so the item in question is the trestle repair here, which is done by Kraus Anderson. And as we said, or as Lindsay said, was deducted from 421 funds by the amounts of $156,167.91 and $7,167.75. They are paid with regular council bills and that were voted on by city council. And that 421 is the Rochester sales tax. It's being moved with the council funds that will not be part of EDA like we said before. And then you can see those numbers there from cash receipts.
Any other questions on that? We'll move on to new business, Highway 58 work.
Yeah, Kurt asked me to give you a little update. It's a 2031 project we're thinking right now. Of course, that moves around depending on priorities, and it could be sooner, it could be later. I'm hoping not later. I think that's as late as it will be. But the reconstruction will be from the bridge, all the way to the roundabout. Right now, that's what they are proposing. We are talking to them about doing more and going all the way back to County Road 6. It's a once in a generation project, so we need to be ready for it. There's opportunity to completely redo the whole look and feel of Main Street, based on what we choose to do. We can have colors, and trees, and wide sidewalks, or big bump outs, or, at the very least, big bump outs to get people out past the cars that are parked there. We could propose parking changes. We could do, who knows what we want to do. I don't know why I'm not getting the overhead here, but of course it won't work now. But anyway, that's kind of the long and the short of it. They did a study here in town where it's more of a workshop for MnDOT and how they do read these road reconstructions. And we were the study site. So they were all here in town. We walked with bunches of engineers and designers and talked about a lot of these things. They all advocated for a median of some sort. Turning lanes will need to remain probably, but there's a space right in the middle of those turn lanes where we could put in a median to separate things a little bit and deter people from trucking right across the road, maybe the way they do now. And encourage them to go down to use the lights on the corners to a median all the way up to Quick Trip, basically, with some trees and foliage and things like that. Maybe narrowing the road up there, because right now we've got issues on 9th Street where the road is so wide. A kid pushes the button after school to cross the road. Car stops, the kid starts going, and a car comes right around. so it's too wide up there. So my idea would be to narrow that up there and maybe even narrow it up to County Road 6 if we can get them to work on that stretch. But the thing to keep in mind, it's a once in a generation project, and as a city, we're gonna have to start looking at our reconstruction schedule and make sure that we're ready at that point, and maybe that is our reconstruction that year. Is the Main Street stuff. So we have the dollars to do anything and everything we want to do. The state will pay for a lot of it, and they're re-looking at how much they pay for. They're advocating for bike racks because they think we should really market our community as a biking community connected to trails, which, yeah, absolutely. I'm not a big advocate of a bike lane though, anywhere. So I argued pretty strongly against that now on Main Street is too tight anyway. We don't want a bike lane there too. So
They'll just drive in the lane.
they'll just drive in the lane. That's fine. Yeah. Or most bikes drive a road off anyway now. So.
But the city will have some expenses already with infrastructure.
Yeah,
Under
we'll
it,
also have
yeah.
some- Yep, be a full reconstruct of everything at that point. Face a building to face a building, sidewalks and everything. Colored, we could have colored crosswalks like some of these communities have, where it's a different color, which I think. But anyway, all the ideas are open. There'll be a lot of community meetings, a lot of meetings with boards, but go ahead.
They talk about stoplight potentials.
Nope. Well, it'll be part of the study, but there's a lot of things that you have to meet to get a stoplight. If we do a stoplight down on Main Street, we're gonna back traffic up past corners quite a bit. I think the rapid flashing beacons and a narrower roadway will slow the trucks down. It was a good day to have all those engineers out there because there was a ton of trucks and it was loud and they come by just going 30 miles an hour, but 30 miles an hour is too fast. I reiterated that multiple times to them that, this needs to be 25 or even 20 through this stretch.
There's no room for any roundabouts or anything like that, anywhere down there, is there? Maybe out by 6, but
Not
not.
down there. Yeah, out by 6 would be a good spot, and then up by Bob Priggy's carpet shop would be a good spot for a small roundabout. The small ones work really well. They're in town in Casson, multiple places. They use those now, and I kind of like those. And they are drive over, so
I haven't seen 6 be a big problem, but that intersection out by the bank, that could be a
Well,
mess.
yeah, but 6 is a problem, or 58's a problem because people don't slow down. Speeds out there are just, and both ways. They hit out there and they're going, 65 miles an hour before they get to the 6th turn out there. And MnDOT had they do tracking of cell phones where they can track and get average speeds out there. And yeah, they're hitting 65 well before sixes turn a lot.
Really?
So I think a
Wow.
roundabout there would be wonderful.
Did they talk about that then, Brian? Like they would potentially do that? some
Well, they
smaller
weren't
ones?
even talking about going that far with this reconstruction. We're advocating to go
Oh,
start at 6 and even narrow the whole roadway up starting there to slow things down or start slowing things down. But then at the bridge, yeah.
I think one thing that's really gonna have to be talked about is how to work around the downtown businesses. That could just kill businesses.
For that time period, yeah. So, every town, most towns have gone through this. Spooner just went through it. Trying to think of what other ones, but
I don't know what answers there are, but what can be done to kind of ease that? Because we've been through some construction
well, the
before.
last time I think they detoured out around town. Well, then Spooner, they put the bridge in. That you went out through Forest Mills to get into town. We don't want that either.
Right,
Because we still want to bring them through somehow.
yeah, exactly.
But there'll be a time from the bridge up a ways where they're not gonna get into town that way easily, so, or maybe it's phased by lanes or, yeah, that'll all be talked about too. It's very preliminary yet, but we're on the books for 7 years right now. But anyway, just want to bring it to your attention and let you know that there's gonna be a lot of meetings coming.
The piping and everything underneath, or is that city expense?
Well, we cross a lot of spots. There's not
The city
anything,
expense,
yeah.
but they do it.
things running down the road. It's
Well,
just
there's
processing.
water comes in from the front.
Right. In some of the, some of those areas, but there's not a main, my understanding is there's not a main running down the road.
Maybe off to the side, because I know the water and sewer come into the front of our building.
But yeah, we're gonna have expense there. Oops, oh, sure, it's gonna do this to me again now.
It's probably 100 years old, isn't it? How long it's been? Well, we don't have to waste time on it, Brian, but I'm just curious. We got 6 years to look at it. When will they make a
You're right,
decent?
there is water, there's the water right there, sorry. It's a 6-inch water main.
I know our sewer line goes out the front. When will they make the final decision? And, I mean, they'll do a lot of planning now, of course, for 3-4 years.
Oh, yeah, it'll keep shifting, we'll know well ahead of time. Hey, there you go, you're right. Runs right down there.
Well, originally this was supposed to be done like 4 years from now, so they've already bumped it back to
Yeah.
7, so
Yeah.
it's.
Yeah, we'll know in plenty of time. But we'll start looking at our capital reconstruction plan right now to kind of slate, okay, what's gonna slip for a year or two to do this, because this is important. And again, you'll hear plenty about it. There'll be lots of meetings, lots of ideas. I've got some ideas that might get me strung up down there, but actually I did mention it one time. One of my ideas was to narrow everything up, have big wide sidewalks, trees, just a couple of handicap parking spots along Main Street, and then go to alternating one-ways downtown with angled parking, kind of like Hayward, where it's a real severe angle where you can actually park and get out. We'd probably double our parking downtown. It would just be on side roads. And I mentioned that in Ziba, and nobody killed me in there, so.
As long as it's close, that's the key. It's on the sides, it's.
You still need a handicap out there in the
I
front.
thought about one ways also because it's safer, I think.
Yeah, yep. Plus it's a lot more utilization of parking, angled parking that way. Just all ideas right now, but
That we would make one ways, is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Like 4th Street and.
Third Street.
And then maybe let them only turn right onto the main road or something.
right, yeah, you can even get those intersections, you can't cross. But who knows?
Who knows?
It's all, put all the ideas out there, but one thing as a city, we want to be prepared for it.
And does the state listen to you? I mean, like if you came and said, this is our thoughts, were heard, but will they actually implement something or?
Well, a lot of that stuff, if it fits within the warrants of all the manuals that they use, it's just a matter of who's going to pay for it. You know, I'm sure they would love to see no parking along there for semis to come through town. Because they like to see traffic not stop because they're getting people through town on the highway. If you're stopping people on the highway, then, well, then we're backing people up in town and I don't even think a stoplight is a great idea anymore. I used to, but I think with the rapid flashing beacons, again, if we can get people to push the button and then step off the curb so cars can see you walking, they're going to work much better. But bigger bump outs, at the very least, another couple of feet on the bump out so you can get out and stand on the bump out and see past the cars. And cars can see you. Yep, kind of a long range heads up.
New business B, Sticks and Stones, 308 Main Street.
Yes, so Sticks and Stones has just opened up at 308 Main Street. Their business is a boutique with fashion, accessories, and gifts. They also have crochet and earring making classes available. The clothing boutique opened August 21st in the Old Soul spot. Old Soul has moved across the street, 309 Main Street, former site of Marlowe, and Marlowe has moved into the Dwell building. Sticks and Stones will receive a new business plaque, and I believe Kurt has already delivered it this week.
Did he do it? We've been talking about it.
I think he did.
We've had some plaques for a while, kind of trying to schedule getting them out. And
One thing that wasn't mentioned is Wild Mother moved up to the old Carnegie Library. They had been in Luya and they're not up they're up at the Carnegie, you know, much better spot for her.
Yeah.
Looks good in there too, by the way.
So is that the only business in the upper level of the Carnegie Library?
Yeah, she's got the upper level. They still run the clay studio
Yep.
downstairs. Same owner. She's just leasing the space.
Okay, good.
C, Minnesota Housing Tier 2 grant awarded.
Yeah, so Kurt did apply for the Minnesota Small Cities Tier 2 grant. And Zumbrota was awarded $85,000 on behalf of Habitat for Humanity for construction of a new home in the city. The city was one of 33 selected out of 48 requests. And Bob is going to share what the funds will be used for this evening. I know he had more ideas about it than I do, and Kurt knows about as well.
Yeah, it was, these funds were essentially, in my view, they were essentially the Saha funds for small cities. Cities that had 10,000 or more were just given money. The Saha funds, state affordable housing assistance or something like that. The big cities like the metropolitan areas, they got LAHA funds and they were able to set up sales tax to continue with affordable housing efforts. But of course, small cities had to apply to get something and not everybody got everything. So we worked with 4 cities in Goodhue County and 2 of them were selected. So I worked with Kurt on it and we also got money in Goodhue, 55,000 there. This money, our plan would be to build a house here, not this coming year, but the next year. We're working with 2 schools. Zumbrota is fortunate to have their own program. Cannon Falls, Pine Island, they build their own schools with the school classes. Goodhue did not have a program. Kenyon Wanamingo did not. So we set that up last year. They built a home for us last year, each school. And they're doing it again this year. And the original plan in Goodhue was to build the home and then move it because they can't expand. They don't have the sewer system yet to expand there. So anyway, we're building a home there this year at Goodhue School and we're going to move it to Lake City in the spring when the school's over. And I think the following year, my goal would be to move one to Zumbrota. They turn out looking really nice. We build the basement and whatever, the infrastructure on the lot. We move the house in and set it down. We connect a garage to it. We put a porch on it. So it's all finished in the community where it stays. And that's kind of the plan with this. But we need to buy a lot in Zumbrota somewhere. We need to use some of this money to help build the house. And, if we can get a couple lots, that's fine. We'll keep one for the future. So that's kind of the goal. The thought was these Saha funds went everywhere except the small cities. If we can get some for some of the small cities, why not? So we went for it. Kurt was good help and did a good job.
I'm curious what those houses sell for.
When we just finished the schoolhouse in Kenyon and it appraised for 300. So, then we build small homes. I mean, this was a basement and, a lot of times it's 900 to 1,000 square feet, which is good size. You can even have 2 bedrooms upstairs if you want. And then we have an attached garage, usually a single car porch. So we just got an appraisal for a twin home that we built in Red Wing, one half of the twin home. So one of the homes appraised at 290.
Does it cost that much more to do a 2-car garage? Or is that kind of?
Not
against
that much more. We're kind of going that way a little bit, just for storage.
Yep.
We have the Hope Heights that we're working on now. We're kicking off a capital campaign for that, where the old St. John's Hospital was.
Mhm.
We own that land. And we can put 26 homes there.
Mhm.
So with that, because it's kind of a habitat neighborhood then, we're going to put in 2-car garages, just so people don't have crap sitting outside and, you know, keep it looking nice. So that's the plan, and grateful that it came through. So,
So Habitat homes aren't built by the homeowner anymore, who will be?
yeah,
They
they
are.
help too.
Okay,
So all the adults in the family have to, we like to have them spend 200 hours. And at least 60 of those hours at the site. Now they can do other things to get those hours, but 200 hours. So they help build their home. And just so everybody knows, they buy their home. And we have to sell it at the appraised value. But to make it affordable, they can't afford it, the 300,000. So to make it affordable, we structure the mortgages. They typically pay on the first mortgage, something that they can afford. It's usually 28 to 29% of their gross income. And then, you know, let's say that's 160,000 up of the 300. Now we stack other mortgages on top of that. So there's, with the home in Kenyon, I think there were 4 mortgages on it. Now the other 3, they don't have to pay on until the first one's all done. If they sell, they can't run away with their money.
Sure.
They owe us for all of it. So it's a good program. And I think we're the only ones building affordable homes. So look forward to getting back in Zumbrota. It's been a while.
New business D, open seat.
Yes, so I believe Tina Ossiger will be moving to Rochester, and so there's an open seat. So Kurt just asked me to mention if anyone knows anyone that'd like to be on EDA, that seat's open. So be kind of opening it up to the public. And so, yeah, feel free to let Kurt know if you know of anyone or if there's anyone interested in applying. So just kind of putting that out there, I guess, tonight. So.
She's traveling for work. Not why she's not here tonight.
She's not just ditching out early on us.
No.
When is their timing?
They're moving to Rochester end of the month.
Oh, that quick.
There won't be another meeting, I don't think.
Wow. Well, good for them.
I am hoping to retire from the bank by the end of the year, or thereabouts, depending on, might be a little bit after the first of the year. But I've already got a replacement in my back pocket, but maybe we can bring him in and then get somebody later. But Marcus Lang is a lender at the bank, and the bank would certainly like to have somebody on EDA, if that's all right. And Marcus is certainly willing to do that. So I don't know if you want to talk about it and see if you want to bring him on now or later. My term ends, my mandatory term ends, I think, in 26, but.
Is he a resident?
He is not.
You have to be a resident?
Don't believe so. I think you can be
Where's he living now?
I would think you'd have to be a resident.
I had a really good, I had a good conversation with him. He's a good guy.
Yep, I think he'd be good for, he's pretty involved right now with the new business group that's gotten together, so.
Yeah.
I don't have to, but,
Thinking about it.
well, I'm just,
They're gonna go. No, they're not on the move.
it'd be nice.
Travel.
If I had my way, we would. No, Laura's got to work a couple more years, so I don't think we'll be going too far, but, and I could certainly stay on, you know, but I don't know if you want 2 bank people on or not, or what, so you can have.
As far as I know, I mean, compared to my other, code committee and the planning commission, we can use all the people we can get on those. So we're still have an open seat on planning commission, and we'll have a second seat open too. So we're definitely desperate for people everywhere. So yeah, we'll take anyone and everyone.
Well, if a non-resident can serve, you know, you guys go ahead and discuss what you think and let me know, and I'll certainly extend an invitation to them if and when you think it's appropriate.
Yeah, it's interesting. I never thought about that, if they have to be a resident. I know for Habitat, they don't necessarily have to be, you know, as long as they work in the area.
Yep.
Yeah, we can kind of check in on that and see what our ordinance book says and kind of get back on that one. Hopefully maybe next month we'll have more of a kind of, we can have a bigger discussion about it per se, I guess.
Our ordinance will be much more searchable pretty soon.
How do you normally try to find somebody? Do you publicize it at all that we could use an EDA member?
Yeah, so at least what I did for co-committee this time around this summer when we brought in our new committee member, I just created an application for him. I put it on the website, but I kind of put it out on, Facebook, on the website, just kind of publicize it online as much as possible because that's where we get the interest from, I think. And so there was a way you could just fill out the application on the website and then just come straight to me. In this case, I was already aware he was interested. And so he just reached out to me directly, but yeah.
Okay. Now we are to your additional items, Bob.
Yeah, as I look towards the future now, I just came from the Zabel meeting, I guess Tuesday morning, wasn't it? Anyway, there's some good things going on there, and they're moving the stick a little bit as they look at their projects. They're getting formed so they can be more organized and official and pursue the projects they want to pursue. And I think it's open to anybody that wants to be a member. So there will be. They're setting up guidelines now. So anyway, but coming out of there, I'm thinking of other projects and I don't know, do we have anything in particular that Kurt is working on, a project?
I know, I mean, kind of the updates we had were just mostly the constructing, EDA lots. We're working on, some, possible like subdivisions coming in, but that's kind of more my realm. But, he helps me out with things like that. I don't know in particular, what in-depth projects he's working on, just because I'm not super in tap with what he's doing, so.
Well, a couple of things that I know Zabel's not focused on so much, but I think we should be focused on maybe and put some effort into one way or another. And I don't know all the answers, but, I'm wondering what's going to happen at the downtown restaurants. What can we do to help find a buyer for the coffee mill? And now, it's not confidential, I don't think, because Bridget's told people that Bridget is done at the end of the year. So what's going to happen to her business? We need to put some energy into finding something for the downtown restaurants. I know if we could get Kurt to help on that and figure out a way to search and maybe partner up with Todd Fitz, because that's one of Todd's goals. That's why he started this whole Zabel thing, is he was looking for the restaurant end of it. And he knows a lot of people in the restaurant business. So maybe that's one project we could be working on. The other one is what's going on with the old church school? What do we know about it? Are we staying in touch with that? Could that become a daycare or something? I mean, it'd be logical to be a daycare or something like that.
Yeah, I can answer to that. Kurt has reached out to many different daycare.
Has he?
Because we were working with them anyway, on the space below the nursing home where the old early childhood education was. They actually said, well, we don't need your help anymore. We've got somebody. And so then Kurt stepped back from that one.
Who said that?
The nursing home. And then it just never happened. But he had been in contact with all those same people that was in contact on that one. And it's a difficult building. It needs a ton of work to make it fully accessible. Lots of upgrades. So I think the cost of rehabbing that building is prohibitive. And I think they know that. I think the church knows that and the realtors know that.
Yeah.
That's probably why you haven't seen much action on it.
And I'll be frank, I don't even know if daycare is an issue in Zumbrota. I know in Red Wing it is. But
No, yeah, there's always a lack of openings. We've lost several in-home daycares along the way. The expansion of the early childhood education building helped a bunch, but there's always a daycare shortage. But, some of the things that Kurt had looked at too is um, a publicly owned facility where we would rent out spaces like to in-home providers. Basically be an in-home licensed daycare in a public building. So that, we looked at
In a shared
that type of a
building.
concept in a shared building
Yeah.
quite a bit as well. So yeah,
That's an
Kurt has done a
interesting-
lot of work on that stuff.
That's an interesting concept, a co-op type thing.
Yeah, it just hasn't come about yet.
And the third thing I had, and I talked to Kurt early about this, is I want to revisit the idea of a chamber. I think we need a chamber. I've made some phone calls already, so I told Kurt I'd continue to work with him on it, but I want that ball rolling. I want to see what we can get going there, and if it does, my view, you get chambers like Red Wing, and you get chambers, we're members of all these chambers. Chambers like Lake City now, they've taken it to a new level. Some of those, Red Wing, of course, has probably 3-4 employees. Lake City, I think, has 2-3 employees on their chamber. Cannon Falls has got a part-time employee. Pine Island, I think, is part-time. And my concept would be keep it simple, keep it small, and just see where it grows. But start with a part-time executive director of the chamber or whatever you want to call it. But I don't think it has to be costly to get it going, just somehow to get something going. And so I'm reaching out to the Minnesota Chamber of Commerce to get information. I know a lot of other people in other chambers, so I'll see what I can learn, and I'll help if Kurt will put some energy into that. We'll see what we can come up with.
Yeah, he's got all that information because he was looking into that at one point. Him and Manera were kind of tag teaming that one. Manera was our long-term planner that we had on staff for a little while. So they've got all kinds of information on that already. And they did a survey of all the area businesses, local businesses. And the Zebra Group was not in favor whatsoever of a chamber. The bigger businesses, like the ones on the highway and stuff, they were. All in all, it got to be the majority of the business did not want a chamber. Now that's changing, and I think that was loud and clear at the last Zabel meeting, that, hey, yeah, this is something we need to get moving on now. There's a renewed passion maybe for that, and maybe some of the members of that Zabel group would be willing to be part of that chamber and keep it going. The problem is, as you know, people come and go, and sometimes people go and nobody comes. And so then there's nobody to do it anymore.
We had a commercial club, maybe it was a chamber years ago, and it was very active. The problem that happens is you get too active and you get too much stuff going. Same people do all the work, pretty soon they're burned out, and you gotta set it up so it doesn't happen that way. And I think Zeba is changing.
Yes.
And I think they'd be interested now.
Yep,
And
I agree.
I can talk to them a little bit about it, but we need something to pull the whole community together, because I think with Zabel, you're gonna see some growth, and the more we can pull together and rally the troops, that could take Zumbrota to a new level.
Yeah, I'll have Kurt pull together all that information. Maybe we get a meeting set up, just to go through all the information we have, just to let you know what we learned along the way. And there is money to get a true chamber set up. We even looked at, well, let's talk to Pine Island. Maybe we do an area, because Wanamingo doesn't have one either. And Goodhue, maybe we have an area chamber of commerce.
Why don't we share with Cannon Falls, and we have this golden corridor from us to Cannon Falls, and we have a shared chamber or something?
Yeah, and I
Because
think.
of all the communities I'm aware of, Cannon Falls has the possibility of really getting it going like Zumbrota is. Zumbrota's always been progressive and moving, and it's been a vibrant downtown, vibrant economy. Pine Island has not hit the mark. Lake City struggles. I think Cannon Falls is coming along. So that's a possibility.
Absolutely, I agree.
I'd love to see I'd love to see a Goodhue chamber, Goodhue County, and bring us all together, just like you're doing with the sewer system, but that's down the road.
Yep, you need that collaboration in a small town, for sure.
North is Zumbro Chamber of Commerce.
There you go. We have North Zumbro, lots of things. North Zumbro Safety District, North Zumbro.
And then last is reports, update on KB Apartments.
Yes, so this would be from me. I know Kurt usually gives you guys an update every month about updates in Keller Apartment, which I usually provide him. So still slow moving, no real progress on a development agreement just because we're awaiting, numbers on things from the engineers, approved site plans and whatnot. They did apply for a variance for off-street parking per our ordinance. Our ordinance requires 2 spots for every unit. They're gonna have 38 units in this apartment building, so they would need 76 spots. Their plans, which are kind of more administratively approved by our engineers, will call for 66 spots. So they're 10 short, so that's why they're applying for the variance. Just kind of getting the ball rolling on that before they move ahead with site plans. So that's what the early variance is for here. So that's going to Planning Commission. The public hearing will be on October 14th. And so, yeah, that's my update at this time.
Well, and it should be noted too, the other building had 58 units and 51 spot for each, basically, in the other apartment building.
How much do they have for that per apartment?
They had 57 spots for 58 units. So they were not or just about 1 for 1.
Right, which is more typical nowadays. Actually, Rochester is about I think they're 0.5 or 0.75 in certain areas of town, especially downtown areas, because not everybody has cars.
It said 2 to 1.
It was done, I believe it was done through the PUD agreement.
PUD on that one. So
But
that
this
was,
time,
that all happened before I got here. I signed the paperwork, but I wasn't involved, so I don't even, Miles asked me that question, so I don't know. But,
I think those apartments are what, 1 bedroom primarily?
well, there's a number of 2-bedroom apartments over there, and 1 bedroom and studio. Yeah, and this will have some studios, some 2-bedroom. Well, I think there's some 1 bedroom, a 2-bedroom and 3-bedroom, right?
And 3 bedroom.
Yeah.
So the chance of having more cars in these units is
Possibly.
definitely there.
Possibly, but, there's other areas, other communities we can look at to say this has changed over the years, so. Oh, I got an eyelash in my eye, but yeah, that's,
So they'll have 38 indoor, so they need 28 outside. And that's, in their plan right now, that's what they have.
do they have 38 underneath? I can't remember what they have underneath.
they do not have 38 underneath.
They won't?
Then wasn't it?
Yes, I believe they have about 30 underneath or somewhere in there. So the majority comes from outside, and that's due to the location in particular, because it's right there, and then, because of the alleyway as well. So they're counting all that outside parking as well. So, and that's what they did the first time as well. They definitely do not have 57 spots
That's what,
underneath. So
in doing plan reviews on those buildings for years, that's what typically is done.
Okay, so, but right now, the preliminary plan does have 66 spots.
yep, that's the total number counting outside,
Yep.
indoor, everything.
Within a 1 block radius, or?
I think it's just everything in the adjacent, like on their property line, basically. That's the way I counted it, so I counted
Well,
off
the
what they had said.
road, the alley and underneath.
Not on the
And-
other
and
side
on
of
their
the road.
property.
No,
They pick up a couple on West Avenue when you close off that entrance into the parking lot. You pick up at least 2 or 3 there possibly, and
those are all,
with the redesign of the alley.
yep, and those are all counted in there as well, so.
Okay,
And what do you figure that's 1.74
Yep,
car per unit, and the current apartment complex was what, 1?
yeah, 0.99, and then this one will be 0.7174, but that's also because there's less units, just 38 units rather than, 58 units. But those are mostly, the 1 bedrooms rather than this one are multifamily housing. So that's why we're figuring the 2 for 1, because our zoning ordinances shifts based off, what's going in there. So this is all multifamily residential housing, so it fits the 2 for 1 ordinance in particular, but also that was also a lot more restrictive than other communities, which that information will be provided at that October meeting as well, so.
I think the last one I did in Rochester was, gosh, I don't even know if they had 1 for 1, but they had a bike storage area. Was kind of the give on the variance.
yeah, I know I was involved with financing a new apartment probably 10 years ago near the Delk And that, I don't know that it had one-to-one even.
I think the thing I noticed different with Keller Bardman on this one is if you look at all their other sites in Red Wing and Cannon, they've got more of their own property. So they're able to provide their own parking, where now they're relying heavily on public parking. And that's because there's no space. So that's the difference, is that, in my view. So just something to keep in mind. It's a good project, but it's, parking is gonna be an issue. I'll guarantee that.
And yep, and planning commission kind of talked about it this month in October, or sorry, in September here. But they'll go through all the things in October, and
Yeah.
council will still have their approval say and after that. So it'll go through the process like normal. Not gonna do the PUD agreement like they did on the first one, just gonna make sure we're getting our ducks in a row.
What's the deadline on the grant?
Oh, they've got a couple of years. I can't remember what the deadline is. They're not up against anything. But it's gonna be some more work too. That's why the escrow checks, they can pay for that time that I gotta spend reporting on that grant.
I'm going through a development agreement with the city of Red Wing right now. It's not something that's fun to do.
That's why I put Miles in charge of that.
I could use some help in your spare time.
If there is no further discussion, we will adjourn.
Thank you.